Ladies and gentlemen, what does the Durham probe have to do with inflation at a 40-year high, an imminent stock market crash leading into a recession that I predicted, by the way, in the Federalist last October? My article's below in the pinned comment. What does the Durham probe have to do with oil prices now being over $93 for WTI crude, Brent crude over $94. It's going to go over $100 and over very likely $147. That's the all-time high. What does the Durham probe have to do with oil going past $150 per barrel? What does the Durham probe have to do with the 10-year Treasury around $2? Okay, what does the Durham probe have to do with 7 rate hikes by the Fed this year? 7. Okay? What does the special counsel have to do with margin debt? Now, this is important, ladies and gentlemen, very important. And I'm not this amazing economist at all, but from a stock market perspective, I don't think many people are focused on this. People more brilliant, well, actually infinitely more knowledgeable than I am, aren't really focused on this, and I don't know why. But, I mean, they talk about it, but margin debt is double what it was in March of 2020. We have close to $1 trillion in margin debt in 2022. Margin debt was less than half a trillion dollars, around $497 billion in March of 2020, according to FINRA numbers. Okay, what does all this have to do? The Durham probe is a special counsel that does not get media attention. It does not get political attention. Also, the House and the Senate, Republicans are favored to take the House and the Senate. So what do all these things have to do with a special counsel, just like the Mueller probe, that most people don't really pay attention to? Well, the Durham probe special counsel should always be viewed within the context or paradigm of what's going on with the economy and with American politics. Unfortunately, and I have been saying this since before last October, I predicted the stock market crash that we're seeing in slow motion, and we're about to see with 2,000 to 3,000 point drops in the Dow. The Dow dropped 1,000 points in 2 days the other day. Absolutely nobody is bullish at all. I mean, there might be some people, but the prevailing mentality, which was not the prevailing mentality in late 2021, the prevailing mentality now is basically what I have been saying. The sky is falling, the rate hikes are going to tank the market, and if Jerome Powell doesn't raise interest rates high enough, inflation will tank the market. Notice something, by the way. Go to any million sub left-leaning channel. I know you might find it annoying, but go and see what they're talking about. None of them are talking about inflation. None of them are talking about a recession, and it's going to take them all by surprise. And they'll find some way to blame Trump, even though Mashed Potato Brains is president. Hit subscribe to this channel right now. Be here in 2 hours. In 2 hours, I will have another upload on this very segment. This is a series that I'm doing, and it's going to be throughout this year. The Durham probe special counsel that already indicted 3 people, Michael Sussman, Danchenko, the Steele subsource, and Kevin Kleinsmith, the former FBI official, they were all indicted for setting up and framing Trump in some way or another. Kleinsmith was indicted for literally lying to a FISA judge because they had nothing on Trump. The Steele subsource, Danchenko, was indicted for false statements, serving as one of the sources for a completely debunked dossier, which was nonsense. They literally purchased their own myth called Trump Russia. You'd have to be an imbecile to believe that the Kremlin installed Trump. And by the way, Russia's about to invade Ukraine. So that also relates directly to the Durham probe special counsel. It's taking place under mashed potato brains Biden. So his son worked in Ukraine and got millions, but apparently Ukraine can't join NATO because they're too corrupt, according to Biden and NATO and journalists in the West. Or I should say, the NATO and Western countries. So we put them in that situation, unfortunately. We said, oh, you can join if you want to. And they said, okay, we want to join. President Zelensky, who, by the way, stated Trump never pressured him. So right now, those same Democrats should be impeaching their own president. But you know the way Democrats work. Just, they don't care about, there's no value system there. It's just whatever suits them politically. But you have a Durham probe special counsel that needs media support and it needs political support within the GOP, and Republicans are going to take the House and the Senate. We are heading into a recession. We are seeing a slow motion stock market crash. And all of these things are taking place in real time. And what does Russia have on Biden? What does Russia have on mashed potato brains? Does the Kremlin have any compromise? Oh, I mean, don't even ask on Hunter. I mean, at this point right now, what more compromising information can you have? We've already seen. Actually, the media has suppressed, but there's salacious everything pertaining to the vice president's son from his laptop, including pay-to-play schemes. So the Durham probe special counsel will be linked to impeachment also, because Republicans in the House and the Senate are going to impeach Biden. Like, very immediately. Now, everything is leaning towards Republicans having a tremendous, and Trump Republicans. I don't really care about the GOP, but I do like Trump Republicans. If it was Tulsi Gabbard versus Marco Rubio, I'd vote for Tulsi Gabbard. I don't like the establishment of either party, but I can tell you most of the Trump Republicans are awesome. Now, the gazpacho police, we have to make sure that that type of situation doesn't happen, because all they need is a soundbite. All media needs is a soundbite. You can have Russia invade Ukraine, stock market crash, recession, inflation continuing to skyrocket upward, even as interest rates tank the economy, oil approaching $150 per barrel. You can have pretty much every margin debt causing hedge funds to go under, like Archegos with $30 billion in margin debt, ICBMs, DEFCON 2, everything, and the headline will be Marjorie Taylor says gazpacho police, and you know what? At the end of the day, we'll just vote against. We'll just vote Democrat because we can't stand the gazpacho police. So that has to, we can't have any of those things. We can't have any of those faux pas, those absurd statements. But other than that, the Durham probe special counsel, and I will be doing segment after segment on this theme because it's very important. John Durham right now has almost little to no media coverage. I am one of the few people on YouTube talking about this. Obviously, Judicial Watch and others. And Tom Fitton, obviously. But I wrote about the Durham probe special counsel a number of times in The Federalist. You can go to my author page, H.A. Goodman Federalist. Just Google that on YouTube. Or you can go to my website, hagoodman.com, to read my writing in The Hill, The Huffington Post, Salon, The Jerusalem Post, other publications. But ladies and gentlemen, the Durham probe special counsel is tied directly, the number of indictments are tied directly to the geopolitical crisis. We see oil at, skyrocketing in price, inflation skyrocketing, interest rates tanking the stock market, or inflation taking the stock market, take your pick. And this was all because Democrats pushed to end the U.S. economy. Don't ever let anyone tell you that it was under Trump. Trump did not want to end the U.S. economy forever. And he shouldn't have acquiesced for about a month or 2 months, but he was bullied into it. And Democrats revered an unelected official, and they said, oh my God, too soon. And they didn't want to open up. And they wanted every draconian policy possible. And now they're realizing, oopsie, midterms around the corner. Everyone despises us. Gee, I wonder why. And we are heading, your life, I always say, your life, your personal life, your happiness, love, success. I wish this for you. Always focus on love, happiness, success, joy, laughter, the friends that really care about you, that didn't disown you because of politics. Because if anybody disowns you because of politics, they're not truly friends. That's not, that song, that's what friends are for. That song isn't about people who think that Trump is ruining democracy and want to disown you. Those people know nothing about politics. And they're the same people in other time periods who would betray you. And worse things could happen, God forbid, in an alternate universe or other time periods. I'm talking about focus on your loved ones, your friends, your family, the people who care about you and love you. And like I said, focus on love, laughter, happiness, joy, write poetry, enjoy the Super Bowl, whatever. Take up guitar lessons, whatever. But the trajectory of your life should be on an upward trajectory, okay? This country is spiraling downwards into oblivion because Democrats don't govern. They just want to rule, and they enjoy power, but they don't really... No one was talking about infrastructure 2 years ago or even a year ago. They just came up with, infrastructure, that's good. Nobody was talking about this. And climate change, that was part of their bucket list, so they said they can... And then Manchin just completely obliterated all of that. Now we have inflation through the roof, so you can't pump more money into the system. We've already pumped $10 trillion because of Democrats. Okay? Biden's economy is heading into a recession. The man is going to be, after George W. Bush, the worst president we've ever had. Ever. After George W. Bush, who was the worst president we've ever had, who, by the way, is admired by Democrats and Jimmy Kimmel. Okay? Because he's not Trump. Anyone not Trump, Genghis Khan, anybody is admired because they're not Trump by Democrats. Democrats have an unhealthy obsession with Trump. Okay? When I was writing about Hillary Clinton and the email server and top secret intelligence, which is a million times worse than a fabricated story of Trump flushing the toilet with National Archives papers, which is baseless, completely and utterly baseless. No evidence at all other than a book coming out and then somebody corroborating the gossip from a book. That typical journalism nowadays. I never said, Hillary was immoral. I never said anything like that. I never made any statement on her character as a human being. Because I understand she just played the game of politics, but she was very lucky and almost certainly infinitely more corrupt than most, but able to get away with things. But she's probably a great mom, a great grandmother, and a great human being to people she knows, Hillary Clinton. I never said anything about her personality. I never said anything about her morality. But with Trump, oh my God. Oh, Trump, he's so cruel, as Biden is infinitely more cruel. And when it comes to a whole bunch of things that we can't talk about on YouTube. So, or we could, but it's always an uphill climb. Anyway, give me your thoughts below. I'll be here in about 2 hours, people. And I have a segment right now on the Stock Market Crash channel, so subscribe to the Stock Market Crash channel. That's in the pinned comment below. Ladies and gentlemen, the country's descending into a negative place economically, politically, and it's directly because of the Democratic Party and their policies. They love their policies. Okay. Now they're reversing course on all their policies because they realize people despise them because of those policies. And inflation is directly correlated to Democratic Party policies. You can't pump $10 trillion into the economy after you gleefully tanked the economy, ending economic activity to save people, obsessing over you-know-what forever, and then turning on the economy like a light switch and you have fossil fuels at all-time highs. Gee, why do you think oil and gas and coal are at all-time highs? Oh, that's right. Because as they were pontificating about climate change, they single-handedly caused these fossil fuels to be at all-time highs. Then they cannot handle inflation. They are trying to just just wiggle out of the reality they're at fault. So they're trying to blame people for actually complaining. That's not going to work out well. They wanted to pump $10 trillion through fiscal and monetary stimulus because of their policies pertaining to you-know-what, their apoplectic, hysterical, counterproductive policies. Didn't work out. Anyway, hit subscribe right now. I'll have another segment in about 2 hours. Be here in 2 hours on this channel. And everything we see is related to Durham probe indictments and the expansion of the Durham probe. Special counsel. Give me your thoughts below.